Okay, so I want to show you another way you can deal with an if statement. And before you freak out with the numbers and whatnot, it's another day and it's a lot hotter up here. So I had to change the values that are going to be displaying here. So this is what we were working on, but they no longer work up here today. In fact, I'll go ahead and load it, and you can see if I load this up and we get the printed data, you can see that it's around just a little over 500 at room temperature, and if I put a hand on it, it gets warm really fast. Okay, so it's a lot hotter up here today. So we're gonna have to change our numbers, and actually I've already done that calculation. But what I want to point out is this is a series of if statements, which is fine. Okay, but it's not very efficient. First off, every single one of these conditions is going to be checked by the compiler. So it's going to come down here and it's going to check to see if this is true. All right? And if it's true, it's going to run normal. But it's not going to stop there. It's going to check this and see if that is true. And if it's true, it's going to run medium. And then it's going to check this and see if it's true. And then it's going to run fever. Well, but if this is true, there's no way this one can be true. I can't be both greater than 515 and less than 500, right? All right, it just doesn't work. So there's a way you can do it that allows the compiler to think for you, so you don't have to give it, these crazy conditions. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to copy this. We're going to start with the same thing. Actually, I'll just give myself some space. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to use a structure that is going to check for the first condition that's true and then just go no further. All right? So that's done with, that is done with else if. Oh, I didn't do that right. No capital. Okay? Else if is going to be linked to this if statement. So what we want to do is we want to check the next possible condition. All right, and we should look while this is running. So if 500 is room temperature, and actually let's go closer to like 490. So because I don't want to have to wait for it to get all the way up to regular temperature. It's pretty hot up here. So let's make this one actually 490, adjusted for the heat of the day, and then let's say that the medium is something more like 470. All right. So if the therm value is greater than 470, all right, then what we want to do is we want to run medium. And then we want one other piece here. An else. And notice this. Well, if this isn't true and this isn't true, well, then the only thing left is it's got to be true, right? I mean, the only thing left has to be true. So I don't have to even put in a condition. I can just say else, and then I can put in here fever. And let's just delete this stuff. So you see what's happening? This is an if, else, if block. Okay? So the compiler comes down and it checks this. If this condition is true, let's say it's 505, well, it's going to do this. It's going to run normal, and it's not even going to bother to go down the rest of the way. It's done. Okay? It's done. It's not going to do anything more. Now, if this is not true, then it's going to go to the next condition and say, oh, wait, else if. Oh, okay, so I need to look at this. So if this one is true, it's going to run medium. And if that's the case, it runs medium and it's done. It doesn't bother going any further. All right? If neither of these are true, it goes down to fever and it runs it. Right? So this, the first instance that it's true, it exits out. Anything else, it just goes all the way down to the default, which is going to be a fever. So if we load this, hopefully we're going to get the same basic effect we had before, where if I put my finger on it, medium, then it cools back off again, and it's back to room temp, medium, and if I hold it there, we get all the way to a fever. And then it'll go to medium, and then eventually it gets back to cool. All right, and this is really neat because I can put lots of conditions here. The fact is, let me pause it. I'm going to add one more condition to show how I can stack these up higher and higher. So give me a second. Okay, so I've added yet another else if, okay, and my chain of if else if block. And so now I've got a 490, a 470, and a 450, and then a default. So the first condition, it's true. It runs whatever's within the braces, whichever functions within the braces, and then it exits. It doesn't go down any further than that. So let's go ahead and put my I'll put my hands on here, and of course, there we are. We're in the medium. There we are in a fever, and my last one is a loop that indicates you're dead. All right, you're too hot. Your fever is really, really high, and I'll show you that code right here if you're interested in it. So dead is a nested for loop like we've already seen, where we first turn off all the lights with a 100 millisecond delay. So it starts at 2, goes its way to 9, and it turns them all off, and then it slowly turns it back on again. And then what it does is it does it for a total of 0 to 3, so 4 times, 0, 1, 2, and 3. So it does it 4 times, and we see the scrolling of the LEDs when I do that. So one last demonstration, fever, and now you're dead. Okay, and it's going to stay doing that for the 4 times, and then it's going to start cooling off, and we're going to see that our fever detector is slowing down. All right, cool. So this one wasn't too long, and I will see you all again here in a minute.